Hello, race fans, and welcome to a very cloudy Atlanta Super Speedway here. This is the Budweiser All-Pro Series All-Star Open. 20 drivers who have not advanced into the All-Star race are getting ready to take to the track here. Engines already been fired, getting ready to head out, being joined by two drivers who are locked into the All-Star race, both Kyle Matthews and Seth Cole. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me.
20 drivers looking to advance into the All-Star race. I believe the top 3 advance, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Weather, because it seems like whenever I come down here to the southeast United States, rain seems to follow me. So yeah, that's why we got the cloudy conditions, guys. You're welcome.
We've got 33 laps here to settle it out. Top 3 drivers will advance into the All-Star race here. Starting lineup will be coming across your screen here very shortly, if not already. And gentlemen, you guys have been practicing out here for a couple of days now. What are the track conditions like? What do the cars feel like for you guys?
Very, very fast.
Yeah, they're definitely very fast. I think the big thing that I think drivers are going to have to overcome here in this All-Star Open is the front straightaway, because you have Talladega, you have Daytona, your typical super speedways. It's a rather long tri-oval for those two particular places. This is a short tri-oval here. It's not even really can't even be considered a tri-oval. It's a D-shaped front straightaway. It is so hard to line up front bumper to back bumper when you're trying to keep a line, keep a draft going, when you're constantly turning left like that at a front straightaway like this. So if we're looking at a place for possible torn up race cars here in this 33 lap sprint, that might be the area where we might see it happen.
This track used to be pretty wide going into the corners, and as you can see here, it has narrowed up big time. So that has really changed the racing, and you got to really, come in here with a new game plan, unfortunately.
And here we go. Pace cars in, 33 laps set to get underway. Green flag is out, and here we go.
Talk about how narrow it is now, Kyle. It'll be interesting to see if these drivers will test the waters for 3 wide. It can be done, but there's not a whole lot of room when you do it.
I mean, this is basically a go for broke kind of race. I will be honestly surprised if nobody tries it, especially in the last lap. If desperation sinking in here, trying to make it into the top 3.
Cole Baker gonna come around, and looks like he's gonna lead lap number 1 here. And here comes Daniel Voiles. Now Voiles, if you think about it, does have a non-points paying win when he won his Gatorade Duel, or I should say his whatever sponsor I had for it, Dual race at Daytona. Yeah, Can-Am Duel. Cole Baker able to kind of block both lanes here, and this is the mentality that with the way this package is, these cars kind of behave a lot like a super speedway racetrack.
And we've got a couple of teammates in the field here as well that could possibly work together, but it's not that easy because generating a run can happen so quickly at this type of a racetrack. Cole Baker's got his hands full trying to figure out where that run's going to come from. Looks like it's up top right now with Daniel Voiles, but to be able to work with your teammate means you have to stay committed to what they're doing. You could be behind your teammate, generate so much of a run that you really have to take that momentum somewhere. You can't stifle it and hold back. So, like Kyle said, it's kind of go for broke mentality here. To be honest, I don't really think there are teammates in this race. You're out for yourself in this one.
Looks like the preferred line right now is the outside. You don't see that very often at a lot of these tracks. So I'm kind of surprised you see the leaders running up on the outside right near the wall. Going to be interesting to see if anybody can really get a good line going on the bottom.
Who was it? That 17, I think James Moore, last time through 1 and 2 ran so high, he was almost into the safer barrier. So you got to be a little careful about that.
Top 3 beginning to pull away a little bit, but there's also one thing that we can't quite count out, and that's going to be fuel strategy as well, pit strategy. Because I believe they will have to at least make 1, possibly 2 pit stops during this race.
A couple of pit stops just here in the open as we have the 62 looking to the inside for the lead. I just mentioned these. It looks like the outside line is the way to go, but looks like the 62 hanging with him here just a little bit. Now he's got a little bit of help coming from the 17.
James Moore trying to get that third spot from Reggie Fogelman. It just seems like, especially off of turn 2, that inside line can really hold well in 3 and 4, but off of turn 2, it seems like there's a little bit of a push up there. Maybe the right front tire heat's already building up, causing that tightness on the bottom, and the drivers on the inside line are really having to lift by the time they get to the back straightaway.
Well, we saw the top three break away about a lap or two ago. That's no more. We have a pack of about, let's say, maybe 10 cars at most right now. So got some more drivers getting in contention here for the top 3 spots. But like Michael mentioned, we do have pit stops coming up here multiple times throughout this race. So this is going to be interesting.
Battle on in the back here. This is for the 4th position, side by side up here. Madeline Crenshaw, Matthew Rodriguez up here as well, and Joven trying to get that outside lane working.
Biggest mover so far, Jessica Shelton. She lost a spot there that lap from 8th back to 9th, but she started back outside of the top 10 in the 12th position, so has picked up 3 spots since the start. Most other drivers at this point in time have either gained 1 or 2 spots, or for the most part, a lot of the guys that have started up at the front have lost a ton of ground. I've already noticed that James Qualls has dropped back. I think he's outside of the top 10 already after starting in 6th. Colin Cropley's almost outside of the top 10 now after he started in 7th. So we're starting to see more drivers pushing forward from outside the top 10 than we are drivers that start inside the top 10 staying there.
Yeah, we had a lead change. I know it doesn't look like it, but the 62 actually led that last lap ahead of the 43. But we see the 43 back out in front.
3 wide. You talked about it earlier.
Maddie Crenshaw on the bottom, Matthew Rodriguez in the middle, and Jessica Shelton up top. Oh, it's interesting, you look at some of these drivers and performances we've seen them have at super speedways already this season. Daytona, Talladega. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Matthew Rodriguez won one of the stages back at Talladega, but obviously no benefit of a win to transfer him into the All-Star race. We know how good Shelton is at super speedways. Some interesting names as we scan down this list before the green flag dropped of people that it was shocking they weren't already locked into the All-Star race, having to qualify their way in through this event.
A lot of experienced veterans in this race. As mentioned, Jessica Shelton, she's in this race. Charles Sanford's in this race. James Qualls is in this race. Matthew Rodriguez is in this race. So, I mean, there's quite a few surprises that are not locked into the All-Star race quite yet.
There's also a surprise person in this race that shouldn't be, and I just noticed it. That's going to be, that's the 16 of Roberto Crown Jr. He's not supposed to be in this race. He did win a race this season, so he's getting some uninteresting. I wish I could. I don't remember the command.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting an audible. That's not Roberto Crown Jr. That's Roberto Crown Sr. making some laps here to try to give information to his son. Got it. All right.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in this race, which means there's probably somebody who's not in this race that should be.
It's Noah Gregson. He hijacked the car.
Looks like the officials were asleep at the wheel there, but
and I think I know the exact person who's not in this race that should be. So here's what we're gonna do.
We're going to pretend the 16
We're gonna
is somebody
pretend
else.
the 16 is somebody else.
Who's the 16?
His teammate actually in the 31. But I don't believe Stephen Colin, unless he is in. I don't know. I don't know. He's going to be somebody else, or he's going to be nobody at all.
Godfrey, for all we know.
Shut up! Stop making that reference.
So you're saying that colleague racing is kind of doing some trickery here? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a 1 race deal for Sean Henley.
And the myth, the legend.
I'm glad we know what's going on here, but what I see right now is a single file train up front.
Yeah,
Actually,
noticed that too.
The entire pack, there's only one or two cars on the bottom, but everyone is migrated to the top, kind of like watching a race at Talladega almost, where you see everybody just like to run the outside.
And I think what's attributing this style of racing is the clouds. I kind of feel like this is the clouds because in all the times I have recorded races at this track, they've never done this.
Cloud cover brings out cooler track temperatures. Track temperatures mean more grip. More grip means higher speed, so that would naturally follow these drivers maybe carrying a lot more speed into the corners. drifting it up to that outside wall. So yeah, it's a good call there that cloud cover might be causing this. I also think maybe as well the single file we're seeing here. You mentioned they're going to have to come to pit lane at least once, maybe twice in this race. As now we already
Speaking
see
of
the
which,
20 coming to pit road of Reggie Fogelman. I think these guys maybe kind of settled it out, realizing, hey, pit road is the monster we have to conquer here. We'll get back to racing side by side after that's done.
I definitely hope so. Let's see if we have more
Miles is
cars
coming
coming
in.
down pit road.
Rodriguez has his hand out the window. Boyle's in as well in the 62. Got about maybe 10 drivers, 9-10 drivers coming down this lap.
That's very true. And then here comes the 40. The 43 still staying out. Shelton and Crenshaw now the top three.
Be a little worried about Reggie Fogelman coming down all by himself. You know, normal super speedway rules say if you're coming down pit road, come down with a couple of drivers, so that way you leave with somebody to draft with. Fogelman may not.
Now.
It's all going to come down to your pit stops too. Faster pit stops, you might be able to blend in pretty quick.
Ooh, this is
Now,
interesting
these guys are pitting on lap 17. There's 33 laps in this race. Boy, they're going to be cutting it close. Some of these guys are
really close. If you come out with a pack, Kyle, I think you're okay. I think you'll
the
be able
20
to
is
make
gonna.
it the other 16, 17 laps. But if you're all by yourself, I don't know. That's a lot of fuel you're using up.
Yeah, it is. Plus, I don't think that the 20 might be able to make it all the way on gas.
Ooh, close off pit road. Shelton had momentum there, leaving her pit stall. I think, she's going to come out with the race lead when it all cycles around.
12 car got ahead of the 43 as well. So, not sure what happened on the pit stop there. But
It was exit.
Pit stall. Yeah, that number one pit stall is really good when you come to pit road under caution. But under green, you can't quite get the launch that you want when you're leaving pit road. And I think that's what came back to bite the 43.
We'll see if Benjamin Miles and Matthew Rodriguez and others can cycle around here, or will these cars be up to speed? That could have cost Cole Baker his whole shot. Here comes the 45 of Benjamin Miles now.
Well, it's the 12 car up there in second. I believe the 12 started way in the back for this thing. And
he did.
That could be fuel strategy.
19th out of 20 cars did RJ Bishop.
Imagine RJ being the one to make it in here. Shelton has been finished second multiple times this season, trying to get that win. She didn't get a win last season either, so switching over from Hendrick Motorsports over to Stewart Haas Racing, you know, could she pick up this victory or at least the top three to get into the All-Star race?
It is very odd to see her in that 10 car, so used to seeing her in the 9, so it took me a while to get used to that, but...
And now that you've said that, Michael, I hope that you've got all your affairs in order of who you're going to leave the Budweiser All-Pro Series to, because if RJ wins and Jessica gets second, she's going to kill you.
Yeah, she's going to kill me, but she'll still be in the All-Star race. Benjamin trying to get a run here, but it's going to take a lot of help and a lot of momentum.
Back to the single file formation,
Yeah, again, I attribute a lot of this to this cloud cover here, so I'm hoping that this all clears for the All-Star race later on.
I'll tell you what, right now, we talk about that pit stop, how it kind of hurt the 43. He came in leading, and now he's running in the 4th position, just one spot outside of the All-Star race. So, yeah, that could be a proven factor right here.
2 Fords, a Toyota, and a Chevy.
He spent most of that run out in front, too, so he didn't really have an idea of what his car was going to feel like back in traffic, now having to kind of maybe relearn a little bit here in his attempt to get back up to the front.
That looked like the 12 car might have backed off a little bit. Well, if the 10 car gets too far out in front, could the 12 car generate a good run?
I think that's what he did. I think he did that on purpose, backed up to the 45 to try and see if they could work their way up with a decent run to the 10 car. Miles peeking out of line there. Not sure what that's about unless he feels he's got to get some clean air to the nose, cool that engine down, because he has been running in the draft of the top 2 for the last few laps or so.
Well, we're getting down to it. There'll be 10 to go next time by. I mean, look at the top 3 of Shelton, Bishop, and Miles. Like, obviously, these are racers. I mean, racers, they want to win every race that they're in, but, like, I don't really think we're going to see a lot of racing amongst the top 3. I mean, they know they're in, where they want to be right now.
That's a good point. I mean, if you're RJ Bishop, why would you step out of line, get yourself in jeopardy of getting freight trained on the top by 3rd, 4th, 5th, and maybe drop out of a transfer spot? So that's a very good point. So really, the guy that is on the hot seat right now is Benjamin Miles. That might be why we saw him try to look to the inside of RJ Bishop saying, hey, I don't want to be that cut line driver. You be the cut line driver. Look at the block he had to throw on Cole Baker down the backstretch.
He had to come up in front of Cole Baker. Cole Baker tries to slingshot underneath him. We'll see if it's going to work. They're side by side.
Doesn't have any drafting help right there. Looks like Matthew Rodriguez not close enough to provide any help for Bakers, but they're still side by side. But we've seen that outside line just be where you want to be. It's going to take a lot to make this pass.
Charles Sanford right there as well in the 99. Another driver did a great job on those green flag pit stops of picking up spots. Started 15th on the grid, right now running in 6th, but 3 spots outside of where he'd need to be to transfer into the All-Star race.
Notice the top two of Jessica Shelton and RJ Bishop kind of hooked up in tandem right now, pulling away from these guys. So I get you guys go ahead and race. We're gonna, lock ourselves into the All-Star race.
Bishop thought about trying it on the high side, but there he had to back off again right there. That's going to bring the 45 right back up to him. And, gentlemen, I mean, this isn't anything like I've seen the racing been the last couple of days. This cloud cover has really messed with probably a lot of these cars' strategies.
It has, but I'll tell you one thing that I think that we could take away from this All-Star Open in preparation for the All-Star race is it's not really going to matter where you start on the grid, especially if we have green flag pit stops in the All-Star race, because a couple of drivers, RJ Bishop, Charles Sanford, have been able to make their way up here. Even Roberto Crown Jr. there, that's 16. They've been able to make their way up inside of the top 7 here when those 3 drivers, none of them started any higher than 15th on the grid. So it's going to be very easy to manipulate pit road strategy, regardless, I think, of the track conditions of being able to gain spots on pit road.
Well, this is the only real place that the battling has really commenced at here. Gonna try to keep an eye a little bit on that. Both of the Joe Gibbs cars back here as well.
Yeah, we're still not even sure if the 20 of Reggie Folkelman can make it to the conclusion.
Actually, we're not 100% sure if all these cars can make it to the end. They might be able to, but you never know. Shelton's been leading, using up the most fuel, so...
And did they get it? Did every car get it filled with fuel?
Yeah, I want to
too?
know how
That's
the I want to know how good the 12 cars pit crew was to get them out into second place like that. So
well, same for the 10. The 10 picked up, I think it was 2 or 3 spots on pit road. So did they give up a little bit of fuel to be able to get that track position? Yeah, I mean, Baker came to pit road, if I'm not mistaken, on the completion of lap 17. So theoretically, Shelton should be able to make it 17 laps being out in front here, which would have put her about a lap to the good of making it the rest of the race. But we'll see.
Well, we're coming to it'll be 3 to go next time by. So
and Bishop can get right to the back bumper of the 10, but can't really pull out to make a pass.
Shelton looked really loose right there. Going into turn 3, saw the back end step out just the least little bit. I mean, these drivers didn't change tires. Let's remember that. They took fuel only on the pit stops. So they may have enough fuel to make it to the end, but they're turning these circuits on 30-plus lap old tires.
Right.
Got Miles up there
right
really
near the
wide,
wall.
running that Larson line.
Couldn't put a piece of paper between his car and the wall, it looked like. Now he's going to try to make a move to the inside of RJ Bishop for second. Kind of surprised like that. They have a decent-sized lead over Cole Baker. Not a huge one, but...
Oh, Baker's to pit road.
Baker came to pit road.
Well, now they have a huge lead on Baker. He's on pit road.
Oh, boy, if Baker had to pit, oh, boy.
We'll see if they're going to be coming to the white flag this time. We'll see if anyone's going to risk it. They'll have to stay out if they want to make it to the All-Star race.
I think you're committed at this point. You can't come to pit road. Run out of fuel on the track if you have to.
Let's go for broke kind of race.
The
We're going to see they're going to get the white flag this time by.
None of the top 3 coming to pit road, but I do. Yep, nope. Top 3 staying out. White flag.
See anybody back in the field there, even mid-pack. Nobody diving onto pit lane. They got what they got. Now it's a question of even if you run out of fuel, can you coast it back to the start-finish line if you're in these top 3? Look how Sanford has closed up the gap. He's ready to capitalize if one of these guys run out.
That's Sanford's only hope right now. He's closing in on Benjamin Miles, but here they come, rounding turns 3 and 4.
Coming to the
Still in power.
Yep, coming to the checkered flag this time. Jessica Shelton's going to claim the victory, but RJ Bishop and Benjamin Miles will transfer as well into the All-Star race.
Shelton started 12th. Bishop started 19th. Miles started 3rd. So completely different areas of the starting lineup, and they all transfer in.
Did anybody else pit, or was it just the 43?
I think
Might
it
have
was
been
just
just the 43, so
Maybe the 40. Looks like Cole Baker may have had a flat tire or something. Had to come to pit road. I guess everybody else made it on fuel. So that's a tough break for Colt Baker, who started on the pole, dominated, this race up until the green flag pit stop, and then had some sort of issue while running fourth. So that's a tough break for him. But
so Shelton, Bishop, and Benjamin Miles, they all get to put on a fresh set of tires and get ready for All-Star qualifying here later on. And we're going to look at your official race results here. Yeah, seems Cole Baker was the only one to come down pit road, but it looks like Charles Buxton in the 15 might have lost the draft. Very interesting to say the least.
Might have been something on pit road that we didn't see. Might have been some contact on pit road that had him have a slower pit stop or something. May have caused him to lose the draft.
That is very true. Well, guys, it's time to suit up and go get ready for All-Star qualifying. So, good luck to you guys. We'll see if any of you can come out with the front row start.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what kind of conditions we have for the All-Star race. Any notes we'll be able to take from the booth down to the race car.
Especially for a cloudy condition. But
if the sun comes out,
I'm still gonna be
who
here,
knows?
so we may still get rain.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just saying, and if the sun comes out, who knows what kind of notes we could take for that? I mean, that'll kind of, basically throw everything out the window at that point. So, hopefully for the fans' sake, the sun comes out and we get some, better racing than what we saw here in terms of side-by-side racing.
Yep, I definitely hope so too. Well, guys, thank you for joining me for the All-Star race, or for the All-Star Open, and good luck in the All-Star race.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tune in for All-Star qualifying and then the All-Star race. Until we meet again.